Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime project video. Now, this one, it's just been announced in game because I wanted to make sure it was coming out before I did a video like this. I mentioned that before, but this happens to be the Haruhi Suzumiya crossover event, and it's got a rerun. So, this is the second time we're doing this event, and I have no idea if there's going to be a third, because JP Side has not had another one since then. So, that said, if you are trying to get these limited characters, get them now, or you're going to miss out, and you would have to get the special miracle ticket in order to get them, and that's 150 eyes per character. That is not worth. But anyways, this event is a crossover event, meaning that it's going to be longer than normal, and it will run alongside other events. However, it's still the fact that it's pretty much a limited thing. Now, that said, this is done like an advent, and all of them seem to be advents, basically. But the difficulty of these is not as what it seems. If you're capable of clearing expert, you should be able to do ultimate on the crossover events. So, it's even easier than normal. Now then, if you're trying to get anything from this event, it's mainly the gacha tickets and then the limited event character, if they have any. I do know the previous event, which was DWU, had tickets where you can try to pull for her with a rate up. And then there's been previous Kamihime events where they had limited characters literally in the reward list. This one, you don't have any of that. Just get your gacha tickets, get your magic jewels, get whatever soul points you might need. Maybe get the SSR weapon to fodder, because again, I can't stress this enough, we're starting to get really close to getting weapons that need a crap ton of skill experience, so learning how to fodder your weapons is important. Because these SSR weapons are not going to stay on your grid, they're not that great. Not to mention, not a single weapon can final break limit from this. Whether you pull a character, or whether you get them from the event, not a single one final break limit, so you're not going to want to keep these. You'll just use them if you can, and then fodder them off later. Now then, there are some battles you have to do within the episodes, but the thing with these, they give you quite a good handful of magic jewels. So if you do all the episodes for this, and then do the event itself, you'll get more magic jewels than normal. So that's something to remember. But the enemies are mixed element. They are all either fire, wind, or dark. So if you honestly want the easiest time with this event, use dark or light. Because fire can sometimes like fire will step and deal with every enemy except for its own element. Because when you use the same element, it ends up reducing the chances of landing debuffs if you happen to need them. The enemies are still very, very easy because of the fact that this is like reduced difficulty. But you still, if you want to like have the easiest time, like say you're a newer player, you still want to at least make sure you're using the right elements. Now then, these enemies, they don't go past 500,000 HP, at least on ultimate. And I'm probably not going to cover anything with enemies because of the fact that they're very easy to kill if you ask me, and I've already done a video on these guys. Just know that you will probably need AoE for every single stage. The more AoE you can do, the better. That's literally the only thing you really need to worry about. And again, if you want the easiest time, I will honestly say get a light team, but dark can still work as long as you're not trying to like debuff regular enemies, because the bosses are both fire and wind. So that's something to know here. Now, going into the actual weapons themselves, If you're a newer player, it will give you a slight boost, but they're not needed. It is a fire sword for SSR and a water staff for SSR. There's also SR versions which flip the skills that they boost, but reduce the amount. For instance, the SSR Fire Sword is Large Assault. The SR Fire Sword is Medium Defender. So it's essentially getting what you need from this and then just foddering the rest of the weapons. Because single skill weapons have lost their time for quite a while. They are easily replaceable now. Even some epic quests will have 2 skill weapons even though they don't final break. So at this point, these are nothing but placeholders. So don't worry about them too much. Your main thing is getting this stuff right here, which is the gacha tickets, the soul points if you need them, and the magic jewels. Especially the magic jewels, because if you're trying to get Haruhi or Yuki or Mikuru, then this is pretty much your only time to do it without having to burn through a crap ton of eyes. So that's something to know. And if you do the event missions, you'll get a Dragonic Eye Shard. If you do them enough times daily, you'll get extra materials which will help you clear out that list even faster. That's the thing with these crossover events. They always have it so it's like, okay, do it X amount of times per day, you'll get extra materials. So it'll start saving you quite a few runs when you really start doing it. Now, I forgot what they said for the in-game banner, but I think the event's going to last for like 2 weeks. But they do last longer than a week, so they will run alongside other stuff. In fact, given how things are right now, we have a guild competition that's going to be like 2 weeks. Then we have the Haruhi event right now. We're probably going to get another event running alongside these, which, if I remember correctly, will be the Och event, which will give you a very, very good Phantom Eidolon. But the thing with these is the fact that because they're so long, you can kind of like gauge, okay, do I need to get this much stuff, or should I work on this event? If you ask me, this event itself has the least importance out of anything we're probably going to have, because you're mainly just getting gacha tickets and jewels, maybe the soul points. But again, if you need some more weapon skill experience fodder, you can go for these SSR weapons and possibly get some of that stuff. Just remember, the staff is harder to get than the sword. But here's the main reason why this event even got attention at all. This Kamihime right here, who happens to be Haruhi Suzumiya herself. Now then, when you burst with her, she guarantees herself a triple attack the next turn. I love these type of burst effects because I use it a lot with Light Bow. This will get you started on getting the next burst very, very easily. And that's even on top of other stuff that you get as well. Because she will randomly hit 6 times with fire damage, which those random hits, skills tend to do a pretty reasonable amount of ability damage. But the big kicker with her is the second skill, where she buffs the combo rate of all allies. That comes into play with her assist ability, which I will get to in a second. But the fact that she's combo buffing everybody, if you alternate that with somebody like, say, Shingen or Yori, then that can really extend how much combo you'll do. I already do that with some team setups, and it gives me like anywhere between 6 to even 8-9 turns of combo rate increase, which is, if you can get at least 7 turns of it, you've basically got permanent uptime. So that means permanent combo buffs throughout the entire fight if you cycle them right. So that's actually very important. It is very strong. I don't know exact amount, because there's like no mention of it down here. But still, when you alternate buffs, that means there's more uptime with them, even if they're different amounts. It's better to have some at all times than just up and just use your most and then have half the fight without it. But the third thing, she'll draw attention to herself with this next one for 3 turns. But she can instantly activate a burst. What this means is that if you use this with the right timing, she can do 2 bursts back to back. And keep in mind that whenever she bursts, she will get that buff for triple attack, which really comes into play with her assist ability. Whenever she does any sort of combo, double attack or triple attack, the attack power of all your team will go up, and it's stackable. There's also another stackable thing that she gives herself, I do believe, which is increasing her ability damage whenever she triple attacks. That will start spiking her ability nuke even more. And we're getting kind of close to the point where they're going to actually buff Elaborate, so that's going to be very, very good. Now, currently on the JP side, she's not considered meta, meaning she has shifted out of it, but she is still a very strong character, and she definitely is worth pulling. At least in my opinion, she's worth pulling. Especially considering that she is limited. And limited in a sense where she truly is limited. She's not going to come back like the seasonal ones. She's literally just going to go. So that's something to remember. You're going to want to pull her now, or you're just going to forever not even get her, basically. Because again, 150 Dragonic Eyes is very hard to get. And then, just to cover her weapon a little bit too. Now, this doesn't final break, but it does come with Large Assault and Small Elaborate. And remember, Elaborate will get buffed a little bit later, so you'll start shelling out even more ability damage. So we'll eventually get the ability to we'll eventually get Ultimate Rays, the Ultimate Catastrophes, to drop Elaborate weapons, which basically flips these skills around. But it's still a fact that you can have something like this and get some of it now, and then eventually do it later on. So if you happen to pull this weapon, maybe raise it a little bit, but then use it as fodder later. But this is the main reason why you would probably want to even care about this event, pulling this character right here. And doing her event will give you basically a free 10 draw through Magic Jewels. Plus a little bit more, considering that you'll get more than 3,000 jewels, of course. And on top of that, you'll also get some gacha tickets. So maybe you'll get her. It's not guaranteed to get her, but maybe you'll get her. Just keep in mind that this second time around, there is a lot more SSR in the gacha pool, so it's going to be even harder to pull her, even with the rate ups. I think there's like maybe only like 50 or 60 SSR Hime in there the first time around. This is like nearly double now. And for those of you that play the 18+ side, she does not have lewd scenes. None of them do. So do not expect that. You still get magic jewels for getting them to certain levels, because it still gives you bonus scenes. They're just not lewd scenes. So you're going to just get magic jewels from that. Now, I'm not going to do too much on these ones, but I will cover them a little bit. Mainly because of the fact that, first off, I need to mention that the videos I was doing where I was covering all those Kamihime, like different rarities and all that, I may or may not stop doing that. I probably will just shoot over to just the SSR. But I haven't fully decided yet. But going into the other Haruhi characters, there's Yuki Nagato. She is SR for water. And this is where she can have some use. You may end up using her in tower for this reason, especially since the next tower we got is going to be a fire tower, so you're going to want water characters. She can eliminate a buff effect on the enemy. She can give herself attract and intercept, basically. And then on top of that, the amount of burst gauge she gets increases when she's under intercept, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Especially when combined with her third skill, where she will give water attribute attack up to all allies, and then distribute her own burst gauge to allies in the first 3 positions. So, that said, this is going to be very helpful. Now, if you manage to keep her burst in a certain way, she will start distributing some burst gauge to get faster cycles going. So she can have her uses. Now then, there is one more character. And personally, she's my favorite. I ended up pulling her the last time. And I have to scroll down pretty far because we've had plenty of characters. But Mikuru Asahina, she's the other one. And if you ask me, she's the cutest one of all of them. But, she's also my favorite. But she has these special effects. And it can help in like Tower, but it's a little bit awkward to use. Also, keep in mind, she's one of the very few R characters that actually have 3 active skills. But her first one, support allies without attacking, which means that she will heal, but she can't attack or burst. So you gotta keep that in mind. And it's like a regen of 400. That's actually pretty sizable for an Haruhi. So keep that in mind. Then there's burst gauge up for all allies. And then while you're in the support state, it's got a stronger effect. So you're going to give 5 burst gauge to everybody, and in support state you'll give them 10 instead. And then this last one, you're going to need if you want to try and build up her own burst gauge, where she increases her own attack power, which is so-so, but her hit rate. Because of this one simple assist ability, she is guaranteed to at least double attack. She will double attack or triple attack. But her hit rate is reduced. The third ability will make up for that quite a bit. So, that said, you're probably going to want to use her third ability if you want to try and build up her own burst gauge. She did have some use in a Dark Tower before, because you need a healer type Kamihime. But other than that, she's very situational to try and use, and maybe would give you an okay heal. Because if you do push that ascension all the way up, that is like, I think, 1200 a turn. But still, it's just, she's situational. I mainly got her because of the fact that, again, she's very cute. I like her. But anyways, that's all for this. More of this is going to come soon, because there's probably going to be another event on the horizon. I know that's probably happening in about a week or 2. So, that said, well, I wouldn't say 2, in about a week. But that said, I'm going to cover that event when it happens. Remember, it is going to be the Och event, and I suggest everybody does that event for that Idoan, because she's hands down the best free Idoan you will get outside of like the other free methods like Idoan orbs. But anyways, that's all for this. More of this will come soon, and take care.